Hello and welcome to Multifamily Investor Nation Monday Meetups. I'm your host for today, Carlos D. Reinoso. Actually, I'm your host every day. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. Still looking great. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. And today's topic is going to be negotiating and submitting your first multifamily offer. And, for those of you, most of you who are here on the call today, you're looking to start on your first multifamily investment, and that's definitely going to be the topic of choice for today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If you would, as you're coming in, hey, Craig, thank you for joining us today. What we're doing, kind of giving a quick introduction of ourselves and what we're currently doing in the multifamily space. If you're not currently in multifamily, that's quite all right. Just let us know what it is you got going on in your professional life as well. And just give us a quick introduction of yourself, if you would. Show of hands, who would like to go first? Okay. All righty. I might just go ahead and pick one of you to go ahead and introduce yourselves. Again, this is Multifamily Investor Nation, Monday Meetups. I'm your host, Carlos D. Reinoso. Today's topic is going to be negotiating and submitting your very first multifamily offer. Okay, so let's go ahead and Craig, would you like to introduce yourself? Kind of give us a little bit more about yourself and what you're currently doing in the space.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Awesome. Okay. Yes. So I'm new to multifamily syndication. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I previously closed on 3 apartment complexes. This is about like 3-4 years ago. Everything went terribly wrong. So I'm starting over as new. And getting into multifamily syndication and possibly starting a private equity fund within the next 5 years.
Right on. That's great, man. And yeah, it's definitely a possibility. So glad that you could join us today, and thank you so much for your introduction. I appreciate that. And what part of Atlanta is it? Atlanta proper, or anywhere close to that, or?
I'm actually in Metro Atlanta. So if you're familiar, I'm in Gwinnett, but I'm investing all over in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and now we're looking to get into Tampa. So and just multiple markets. I'm looking into the Nashville market also.
Nashville. Yeah, that's a good market as well. Yeah, so basically we're kind of like on the same boat where we're both looking to negotiate in the southeastern states. So right on. That's really cool. Yeah, and I thank you for your introduction. Thank you for your time today and for joining us. As you know, throughout the show, throughout the meetup, sometimes people show up later. So you'll see myself, you'll see me introducing myself, a few more times, kind of repeat myself a few more times. That's just to let other people know where we're at in the meetup. Thank you for bearing with us. And just so you know, this meetup will be recorded, will be edited, and posted on my YouTube channel. So you could go back to the YouTube later. It should be up by next Monday and see not only this video, but future or past meetups as well on the different topics in syndication. So right on. All right, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and share my screen and get started with today's topic. And as we go on, if anyone else, would like to go ahead and introduce themselves, please feel free to do so. Just let me know that you'd like to introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. Craig, since you still might have your microphone open, let me know. Could you see the screen where it says negotiating and submitting your first multifamily offer?
Yes, negotiating, submitting your first multifamily offer. I see that.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Okay, so it should be behind me and then on the second screen as well, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. All right, so negotiating and submitting your first multifamily offer. This is Multifamily Investor Nation Monday Meetups. We do meet on the first Monday of every month, and except if it falls on a holiday. My speaker just died. Perfect timing. So who am I and why am I here today? And that's definitely a great question to ask. So let me tell you a little bit more about myself and how I came to be the host of this meetup. Alrighty, so I'm a co-organizer for this group, which basically means I am a coordinator for this meetup. I am the founder and CEO of Canis Major Investment Capital. That's my syndication arm, if you will, of my company. I'm also a managing and general partner, and I have raised capital on at least one deal, and that was a 240 unit 506B offering in San Antonio, Texas. And now I am stepping it up and looking to raise additional capital for even more deals. So as far as what you were talking about, Craig, there's definitely different ways that you could start the capital raising arm of your business, but we could get into that, which we will be discussing later in breakout rooms and have other opportunities to network as well. Usually, we have a few guests that trickle in throughout the meetup, and by the time we're done, there's usually enough guests to definitely discuss further and network, and there'll be breakout rooms and additional network opportunities. So thank you for sticking around for that. I'm also the author of the book Selling Secrets You Can't Afford to Miss. Usually I would have it up here and show you guys, but I'm actually all out of the books. I've either sold them all or given some away as supplies lasted. I could always order more books. There is a good demand for them. There's been a lot of interest in my first book. I'm actually in the process of writing my second book. It's already written. I'm doing illustrations, and that one is basically the tax and depreciation benefits of investing with my company. I've been not so recently interviewed on the Best Ever Real Estate Investing Advice podcast with Joe Fairless and Ash Patel. And here you can see the photo of myself and Ash Patel. We're having such a great time. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, plus very educational. And as you can see here on this screen, you look at the bottom middle, you'll see myself there. And on top of me toward the right, that's Michael Blanc. He was also interviewed the same week on the Joe Fairless podcast. And the podcast was JF, which stands for Joe Fairless, 2640, which was basically 5 tips to boost your online network and find investors with yours truly, Carlos D. Reinoso. A lot of fun. If you ever get the opportunity, I highly suggest you go on and be interviewed. It's a lot of fun. I guarantee you're going to have a lot. Plus, a lot of opportunities have come ever since I did that interview as well. Okay, I was also the panelist on raising capital, finding money for your real estate deals. This was part of the Multifamily Investor Summit earlier last year, beginning of last year, 2022. We had great investors such as Timothy Lyons, Christopher Larson, and other investors. Definitely check out my previous YouTube videos because you could see the investors that were at the meetup. They do tend to show up on other meetups as well. Okay. And over here, we have announcements. So as you're coming in, we ask that you please find your chat box at the bottom and just let us know your contact info, any information you'd like to share with either myself or Multifamily Investor Nation. And all those who provide their email addresses will receive a free webinar video. Basically, it's called How to Get Started in Multifamily for those that are new to multifamily syndications. Also, if you would, like I mentioned previously, go check out my YouTube channel, Carlos D. Reinoso. There you could find other resources such as financing for your business, other links to products and masterminds, and additional resources that could help you out as well and also other investors that have joined us in the past. Feel free to reach out to them once you see the video and reach out to them. Say, listen, I saw you on the meetup, Multifamily Investor Nation. with Carlos D. Reinoso. And I thought it'd be good to reach out to you. I've seen people do that. I used to do that on the Joe Fairless show. And, just maybe 2 or 3 years later, I end up being interviewed on the show. So definitely consider that. Yeah, and then feel free to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. You could also follow me on all social media. You could join the summits. There's usually a summit at the beginning of the year at mfinsummit.com. And there's usually one at least in January, and sometimes there's two. These days, we're doing it in person. So it'll be in South Carolina, Charlotte, South Carolina, and you'll be able to meet up with other experienced investors. And by signing up and registering, you could also watch past videos of the summit as well. So definitely a great resource. And I mean, there's always at least 300 experienced investors and others in the multifamily space as well. Okay, and yeah, if you sign up, you can receive a replay of the previous recordings. Guys, I highly suggest you join a mastermind group. I've joined Strategic Partnership Mastermind. This is a great resource. The instructor is David Monroe. He's a CCIM instructor. Basically just means he's a designated teacher for the CCIM designation, and he's someone experienced in analyzing the markets and the deals. So definitely a great resource. I highly suggest you join a mastermind. Here's a little bit of my website. You could see my website, Canis Major Investment Capital. If you go there, you can fill out an investor form. There, you'll let us know, what you're looking to invest in, your deal criteria, the returns that you're expecting, and we could definitely send you any future deals that come across our desk. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the content. And just so you guys know, this is going to be brief. I'm going to jump into the content. And then after that, we're going to have some time to network in our breakout rooms. And we'll also do some Q&A, any questions and answers, and then jump out into breakout rooms, which time you'll be able to network further. So thank you for your patience with us. Bear with me for just a moment. Here's how this process goes. We're going to talk about the before the LOI and the after the LOI. And the LOI is the letter of intent. And why that's important is because you're going to definitely be filling out a letter of intent when you're buying bigger deals. And the letter of intent, and I'll go into further detail here, but just a brief overview, is basically a letter getting the terms of the contract that you will be submitting. All right, so you'll want to have a relationship established with a transactional attorney, basically a real estate attorney, so they could be writing and reviewing documents quickly and conduct a pre-LOI inspection to determine if the deal fits your criteria. So that's a big mouthful there, but basically you want to make sure that you have a closing attorney or a transactional attorney on your Rolodex ready to call, that if you bring them a contract, they could act immediately. And it's not where you're just now kind of like starting to, you have a contract and now you're scrambling to find a closing attorney. You definitely want to make sure to reach out to one beforehand. And you can inspect the property yourself before the LOI, and inspect it by driving the property, possibly schedule appointments if you can with the listing agent or with the listing agent. Or with the property manager, and set up an appointment to view the property and inspect, if possible, kind of get a good feel for the surrounding areas as well. And or you could also use a third party. You could use like maybe property managers, have them inspect it for you, as long as you're looking to work with them on that deal. They'd be willing to help. And then underwrite your deal. You want to make sure, just based on the big picture, it's in the right area, it fits your deal criteria, you're going to do a quick back of the napkin analysis, make sure everything works out. Then you want to go further and analyze the deal a little bit further. Make sure the deal makes financial sense, know the condition of the property, and then you want to get what's called a whisper price, and also referred to as pricing guidance. Basically, what this is, you're going to talk to the broker, or if you're working an off-market deal directly to the seller, you're going to ask the seller or the broker, what is the lowest, what is the price that the final, like the lowest lowball offer that they'd be willing to accept. And then, you really want to ask them what the whisper price is, but whisper price is it's not saying what their asking price is. You already know that. The whisper price is like saying, okay, let's say it's $27 million property and they have it listed for 27 million, 0.2 or something. And then you could say, what's the whisper price? And they'll tell you, well, the lowest they'd be willing to go would be the 27 million or 27.2 or 27.1. And then that's the whisper price. That's like the absolute lowest they'd be willing to go. And the only way you get that is by either speaking directly with the seller or speaking directly with the seller's broker, the listing agent in this sense. Okay. And definitely want to get that. Then the LOI, again, is the letter of intent. It explains the terms of the deal. It's non-binding, which means that you don't need it to be authorized or signed or anything like that, or endorsed. And it's basically just giving you the overall terms of the contract that will be following, will be proceeding, or will be coming after the letter of intent. And the PSA, it's called the purchase and sale agreement, is basically the actual contract, which will include the terms that you've originally included in the letter of intent. They should be able to match, and the broker is definitely going to make sure that the terms match. And if not, they'll definitely ask you any questions they might have. Bear with me for just a moment. Okay. Just need some water. And then negotiating to get the deal. Be competitive and stand out from other buyers. And, with your using earnest money deposit, one way to do that is to have your earnest money go hard. Now, the first thing that comes to mind, you're starting out and you're thinking, wow, I can't afford to lose $100,000 on the deal if everything goes south. So, maybe when you're first starting out, you're not able to do it. One suggestion that I have, and it has worked for me in the past, is team up with an experienced syndicator. We call it a key principal, if you will, which is a person who has the funds, who has the financial know-it-all, and also has the track record and experience that they'd be willing to put up their finances. And by doing this, they're also going to be risking their earnest money. So you don't have to come out of your pocket with the earnest money. The key principal will. And obviously for doing so, they would get an additional fee for putting up their financials. But it's a good way to team up. If you have the deal, but you lack the earnest money, or you lack enough of your own capital, team up with a key principal. They'll have the financial setup, they'll have the track record, and they'll be willing to put their financials up front to be the higher risk on the deal, if you will. So that's something that's worked for me in the past. And I suggest, just like with the transactional attorneys, start getting to know your key principals, and we could go into that further. But for right now, just know the word key principles, and later on, maybe in the breakout room, I can go into further details on how you could find key principles for your deals. I hope you guys will stick around for that. And another way to get the deal and be competitive and stand out from others buying is the term of the length of the due diligence period and the closing time. For instance, most transactions are going to be in multifamily, larger deals are going to be 30, 60, and 90-day transactions. The 30 days due diligence period, then 30 days for the financials, and then 30 days to wrap it all up and make sure that you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's. And then once everything is finalized, you're looking at a 90-day closing. Well, one way again that you can speed that up is by doing let's say a 21-day due diligence period. So you're cutting it short, like maybe 9 days, and then 30 days to get all the finances in place. So with 51 days, you have a closing. So that's going to put you top of mind for the seller when they say, look, these people have a track record. They do have earnest money going hard day one, and they're willing to close within 60 days or 51 days in this example. That's going to bring you a lot closer to getting that deal than the other investors that might not be able to go hard on day one and who might not have the experience to be able to close sooner. So if you do have an experienced investor on your team, you don't necessarily have to wait 90 days. You could easily close in 60 days or less. Worst case scenario, you could ask for an extension. Most extensions are anything from 48 hours to 15 days to 30 days. Those are the usual extensions that you'll see. A lot of times, just so you guys know, the seller is going to want money up front for additional extensions past whatever extensions you first request. So let's say you request an extension, they give it to you free of charge, they didn't charge you anything, but then after that you require a second extension. It's quite probable that you'll have a fee on that second extension, sometimes even the first. So definitely clarify that with the seller. Almost done here, so thank you for bearing with me. Then you have the buyer call strategies. Now, what are the buyer call strategies? These are the calls when the seller calls you directly or the broker, and you'll have it scheduled ahead of time. Most times these days, it's like a Zoom or a Google meeting. And the seller will ask you, interviewing buyer questions. And, they want to make sure that they know where your equity is coming from, where your track record, if you will, your experience. And let me see here. They definitely want to know where your equity is coming from. And they may have you fill out a questionnaire before the call. So they want to see, it kind of gives you an idea of what questions to expect. So you can be prepared ahead of time. And then be prepared to answer the seller's questions on equity, debt, and the tax assumptions that you have on your underwriting. They're going to want to know exactly, how experienced you are. And these are certain questions that help them probe and get to the bottom of your experience level and how likely you will be to close on the deal. All right. And the waiting period, I've seen waiting periods, as quick as a couple to a few days. And I've seen waiting periods that have lasted a few weeks. And the reason they've lasted so long is because there's been many offers and the seller has had many offers to review, and a lot of back and forth has taken place. Bear with me while I let some more people in here. All right. And again, the waiting period, it can be a few days, it can be a few weeks, depending on the seller and how many offers they have to review. Now, I'm going to stop and pause for a second. If there's any questions, feel free to unmute and ask your question. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just wait a little bit, see if any questions do arise. And if not, thank you, because I take that as a compliment that I explained the content pretty well. But don't be shy and feel free to ask any questions. And I'll go ahead and be quiet for a second and just give some time for that. And okay, so next month's topic is going to be working with property management for your multifamily deals. And we kind of touched up on that a little bit here, but we're going to go into further detail why working with property management is going to be beneficial, not only for you, for the transaction itself, and also for to have better acceptance with your lender as well. So we hope you'll stick around and join us next month for that topic. All right, guys, that was my content for today. Here's some of my contact information. Usually this is a hyperlink, but today it's more of a photo. But feel free, to jot it down. I've also included it here in the show notes. Let me see if I can go there. Okay. Yeah, in the show notes. So feel free to, to come down to the chat box and look at the show notes. And there you also have a link to all my contact info. And I just want to say, take the time to say thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy Monday to join us. Look forward to either myself or someone from Multifamily Investor Nation to be reaching out to you soon. And before I forget, so last month, June 13 through July 13 or so, I was in Bangkok, Thailand. I was in Thailand and the Philippines, and I did record from the Philippines our last meetup. Hope you guys will go take a look at that. A lot of fun. But beyond that, I did have some photos that I'd like to share with you guys. Just some brief photos, of the entire business trip, and just a little something to give you guys a kind of feel for these two countries and the fun that I had while I was there. So I saved them for last. Hope you enjoy. So here you go. You see, this was so funny. If you look at the first photo on the left, in Thailand, the saying to say hello is "Sawadee-kap," and it was so funny because you can see here Ronald McDonald is saluting with the Thai salute, if you will, of saying hello. Second photo, you see the view from my hotel in the Philippines. Second view of the hotel right next to that with the pool photo. Bottom left is myself in front, in front of the Golden Buddha temple. Inside here, I'm pointing up like this is the Golden Buddha. Great experience to get there and to be a part of that. And then the photo right next to it is a boat cruising down River City in Thailand. And next to that is myself and this gentleman, P. Blackhead, who's got his own rock band in Thailand. And it was kind of weird. Like I was just renting my car and he pulled up and recognized me and wanted a photo. So that was super cool to be recognized and from a rock star in Thailand and everything else. So we decided to take a photo and it was a cool photo. You guys, again, feel free to check out my TikTok, LinkedIn, and all my social media. And, there's more photos and more videos coming up in the future. So that's it for now. That includes my content. And if there's no further questions, I'll stop the share here. And let me go ahead and take a photo of this. Pretty cool. I'll see you in the breakout room, guys. Thank you. All right, that was a great meetup and a great breakout room. Thank you guys for everyone who joined us today. Thank you for all the great questions. There were a lot of bonuses and additional content that was given out today for those who joined us today. Join us next month, first Monday of the month from 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We're where our next month's topic is going to be working with property managers for your multifamily deals. Hope you'll join us then. This is Carlos D. Reinoso with Multifamily Investor Nation, Canis Major Investment Capital, which is my investment arm of my company. Signing off. Have a great day and have a great holiday, whatever that may might be. And we'll see you next time, guys. Take care and see you next time.